Graeme, I'm an alcoholic. Um, 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 yeah, thanks for walking the journey with me. Just if I think back, there's been so much going on in my head, and my head it's always been busy, but I've pretty much used or medicated that away, I guess, for a long time. And I think I've never even noticed how my thinking is, but kind of just done what I want when I want, and that's been the story of my life, and that's been, I guess, why I've had so many problems and kind of thought the world was unfair and whatever, and used to get frustrated, angry, dishonest, arrogant, whatever. I don't know. I learned to cope in my own little bubble. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's like I would have thought, like, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that, and it's like I'm blank. So I'll see. But yeah, what I was trying to say to before I went off track, like, yeah, thanks, Josh. I remember when I met Josh in the beginning and started working through the steps, and I didn't like what he had to tell me. Some of it I thought, yeah, that probably is true, but I don't want to hear that, and I'll fight whatever I can to prove it otherwise, and I'll justify and I'll come with stories, or I'd go and speak and I'd say, this is what's going on, and then I'd get told to go help someone, and I'm thinking, I'm here to help me, I'm not here to help anyone else. And me trying to help me, I've always hurt myself, and I guess anyone else who did want to help me. And trying to change that around, which is a process, and it's something that I try to do, because I am naturally selfish, and I do. My first worry or thought is always, how does this affect me? And then I have to tell myself, there's other people involved. It's not everything doesn't revolve around me, because that's selfish, self-obsessed thinking. Like I said, that's what the root of my problem, I guess, is what it is. But when I can break out of that at moments, or sometimes even for a majority of a day, things really work out, and I really have an awesome time, and life is good. Life is different to how I always thought it would be in recovery. It's very simple, but it's actually a lot better than it ever was. And I guess the way I see things is also very different. So I guess in a way my perceptions are starting to change, some of them. And some of my old faulty thinking just pops up, and I think it's out of nowhere, but then as I backtrack and I do my step 11, or I share with a friend, and I can see where it's been building up, and this program lets me work through that stuff and keep that at bay, and as I keep that at bay, another one will come up, and it's like an ongoing thing. But to have that opportunity is just, it's a blessing that, often I think, hey, I don't deserve this, but like we all do. And yeah, so I'm going to try to share my story. I'm going to try to summarize it so I don't veer off on a tangent, because I'd like to share the whole story as best I can, and as honest as I can, because even in treatment, if I look back at my life story, what I left out and what I put in, the way I put it in, and yeah. But I think that was what I was capable of at that point, and the state I was in, I was very hopeless in treatment, but I still hid behind the arrogance, and I thought, I'm here to tell everyone what they need to do. I don't know what I'm going to do about me. I'm beyond repair. When Don here was reading the chapter 5, in the beginning of that, I used to get terrified, because I've been in and around the fellowship for a long time in the area where I come from, over a decade, but I've never been clean. And yeah, that when they talk about the constitutionally incapable, and I thought, well, I'm just one of those, what's the point? And something I never clicked, it's so simple, being honest with themselves. If I can, and I've learned through my sponsor and the treatment center where I got clean, I've got to be honest with myself and where I'm at, and I've never really understood that, because I've never really had a conscience, and that sort of awakening the conscience or growing a conscience has taken time, because I'd say only really the last 2 or 3 months I've really felt really connected to God as I understand Him, and yeah, it's something I've always wanted, and I used to actually get quite bitter about it, sitting there and hearing other people talk about God this, God that, and I thought, either you're all bullshitting because it's not true, because I've never found it and I've tried everything and I couldn't find it, or there's something wrong with me. But when I got to treatment and I saw what really was wrong with me, I'm just an alcoholic like everyone else, could start getting better. and stop judging everything and hating everything, and even myself, and recovery is starting to teach me to take responsibility for stuff I've done before, and even like when I make stuff ups today, and I've got to take responsibility and fix it. Like sometimes I want to fix it, and just in a silent way, it's like I'll fix it, and it doesn't have to be known because I don't want to feel like an arsehole. But it's actually quite empowering to fix something, make an amend, and it can be uncomfortable. But a day or two later, there's like a stronger bond, or like I don't know how to explain it, but that's actually the cool stuff. So yeah, so my story of my life or whatever. I was born in '83, and yeah, it's weird. Like all these memories keep coming back in recovery, like stuff I've forgotten, and like I can see it more how it was than how I thought it was. But I had a happy little childhood. It was me, and then my sister came along a few years later, and my parents, and they loved us, and everything was cool. My dad's alcoholic, and he was still drinking, and never hit me, anything like that. I mean, if I was naughty, I got a smack, but like a normal, wasn't abused, but I kind of always felt neglected, or like I need the attention from my parents, and I'm not getting it, like, because he would just sit there and drink and do his own thing, and then through his journey and whatever, and then like finances changed and our financial situation, and I didn't understand things at a young age, but my parents always provided what they could, and things, like I went without what I wanted and what I'd become accustomed to, but I never went without stuff that I needed, I was in a decent school always, and they made plans that I could do what I needed to do. Like I had all the requirements of a basic decent childhood, but I always felt it wasn't enough, and I needed more stuff, and I needed, and I remember going to school in grade 1, and this was quite a big thing also, I think, that affected me, or let it affect me, or I don't know, but when I was in grade 1, and I was like having problems with English and maths, and and I was like, had to go to extra lessons, and I felt like, geez, I don't want to do this. I want to go play with my friends, and I also started to realize, like, hey, are we the stupid kids, like, and we had these extra little cigarette boxes with the words cut out, and I had to like learn them and how to write cat on the mat or whatever those things, and and then from there, it's like it's always like I'm not like everyone else, and it's not fair, and that just filtered out into everything. And there was just one little incident I hadn't even remembered for years, where this was a few years later. Sorry, backtrack. Started playing sport also in grade 1, and because my parents could see I was quite shy and insecure, and and they were like, get involved and whatever, and I started playing soccer, and at first I didn't like it, and then I found, hey, I'm actually quite good at this, and I got a lot of positive attention. I wouldn't even call it affirmation. Like, it was something I was good at, and I enjoyed it, and it was a healthy, fun thing. And I had friends, and yeah, it was cool. But yeah, and then there was an incident with some other kids one day after break. Like, they were running up, and I think they were in standard 4 or 5, and I was like standard 1, and there was a washing line, and there was a wire hanging, and they, like, I don't know what they did, but then they strangled me, and my neck was bleeding, and I don't know, it was a scary little thing, and I remember going in the office, and there was a whole thing, and their parents had to come in, and they were going to get expelled, and then they didn't. They just had to apologize, and I thought, that's bullshit. These guys must, they must suffer for what they've done. They've affected me. Because I was only worried about me and how it affects me. Because if I look back now, it wasn't that bad. I had a cut, and it healed, But then I take that on, and I hold on to it, and I get bitter, and I get angry, but at the time, not realizing that. And I kind of always had this thing, I have to prove myself, I have to be someone, I have to do amazing things, and the more I tried that, the more throughout life, I started achieving things, like in different little ways, but for very short times, and then they'd fall apart and flop. And I couldn't see that was because of me and the way I was going about things, like just honestly doing things, doing it my way, not by the book how it's supposed to be done. Like, I'd want to study something and go into something, but I want to take a shortcut. I always want it now, and that impulsive nature and instant gratification. I could never wait for stuff and see something through and take my time and do a job properly, and work for something and appreciate it. And that again is something, a very cool person in the treatment center I got to spend quite a bit of time with. It's one of the coolest things he taught me, he used to always say, leave your signature on every job. Um, Whether I'm making my bed, whether I'm building something, whether I'm cleaning the garden. Like, don't, like, when you walk away from what you've done, you must know inside that I did it to my best ability. And doing that stuff from the simplest little things to, like I said, like cleaning my room, to slightly bigger things, like, has given me a bit of a work ethic. And yeah, so like, sorry, I'm all over the place again. But yeah, I went through school, and also in school, I also found I got a lot of attention from my sense of humor and stuff. I used to be this big joker, and I was also quite a naughty kid. I was always getting in trouble, and that also brought a lot of attention. With the cool kids and whatever, and like silly stuff. But I kind of based my identity on that, like, and it made me feel better than the rest of the people, and then I get that respect that I deserve, that I think I deserve, instead of like just be myself and everyone's themselves and everyone and get along, and it's always been me, me, me. It's all about me, and I've got to be better, and I've got to be okay, and regardless how other people are, they must just know that I'm the one, and it took me to a dark place. But yeah, and then had my first experience of alcohol in Standard 5. My dad got sober 23 years ago through this fellowship, and is sober today. He's made his amends. It took a good 5 years for them to turn around their situation. Well, I mean, my mom worked 2 jobs. My dad was unemployable. He washed cars by hand. And he actually, to not bring shame on us, like, he actually got dropped off in a further area because he didn't want to embarrass the family. And that stuff I didn't know about till I was much older. And I often would throw it in their face later on. I'd say, it's your fault. How can you choose me to stop doing what I'm doing? Look what you did, You ruined my life. And I mean, that's how sick I get. And but like, he's turned it around. He's made amends. And I've continued to hurt them because I've never really seen what I'm doing until, I guess, somewhere along the journey of this year. But yeah, and then so I drank, and I remember it was a sambuca, and I didn't even know how alcohol worked, and I had a normal glass, and I just poured it full of sambuca. I didn't even finish it, and I was tickets. I remember, and I was alone as well. I was just sitting there, and I found some sambuca, and I just remember running around the garden, and like, wow, this is kiff, and I dig it, and I was having fun, and it just took me away from all that like inner turmoil of like, I'm not okay, I'm not comfortable, things don't make sense, and this is not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like this. When I drank, I was just careless. Everything's okay, lekker. But I puked and I fell asleep. And, what's the fun in that? And that just, I guess that, I kind of felt something there and then at the age of 12 where, hey, alcohol maybe is actually quite fun. And just progressed and I started using a few other little things here and there with my friends. Not at school. At school, I actually felt ashamed because I didn't know if anyone else was doing it. I didn't want to tell people, hey, I like to drink a bit, But when I got to high school and I made other friends, because I went to a different school, bumped into people that did. On a Friday night, we'd make a plan, get a few 6-packs and a bottle, and go to the house party and meet some chicks and be all cool and hardcore, and this is it, this is life, and it's mad, and started experimenting this substance, that substance, and something else. When I got to Standard 6, and this has also been a pattern in my life, I always would hang out with much older people, people on different sort of journeys or paths. And I remember meeting a bunch of matrics and thinking, hey, I can smoke my cigarettes here in the morning in the open on the field where the teachers aren't anywhere, because every time the prefects come tell me what, they don't, because these guys tell them to get lost. And I'm feeling like, hey, now I fit in, I'm with the right people. And then also started skateboarding, and now I'm cool, and it's just, wherever I went, just jump in there, and that'll be cool. And then eventually it doesn't work out, and move on to the next. But throughout school, also dabbling in this and that, and by Standard 8, I became a daily substance user. The 2 substances that I was using on a daily basis, alcohol like maybe 3-4 times a week, and then there was another one, and then I had my stuff I did on the weekends and going out underage clubs, and And I look back now, and the way I was raised, my parents didn't judge me or anything, and they cared for me. And I remember my dad would even take me to places and drop me off, and then fetch me very late at night, because he said, I don't want you going out with your friends while they're drinking and being crazy. I want to know that you're okay and you're safe. Like, I'll drop you and I'll fetch you, because I know you're going to go anyway. You do what you want, but I'll drop you. I know where you are, and I'll fetch you and I'll bring you home. And I think also looking back, and he actually said this to me a few years ago. He said, I felt you were going down the route I was, and he said to me, he said, I couldn't have stopped you. Like, you would have to see for yourself. But by the time I started going to rehabs, then they did the tough love, or we're on your case. First they enabled a lot of the time, because it hurt them. They didn't know how to deal with it. And then actually ended up failing standard 9 as well. And again, my sport, I achieved quite a lot I was playing like literally every sport in standard 6, and year by year, just drop this one, drop that one, not interested there, and a whole lot of weird incidents at school, stuff I'd done that I look back and it's like mad or shocking, stupid things. And actually, that thing I spoke about with the other kids and having to make an apology, I had one of those when I was in standard 8 or 9. I'd done something to a lady, and their parents were called in, and there was things of police coming in, and I was terrified because it affected me, not because how she felt. And I also had to stand on the stage and say, like, I'm really sorry. And the only reason I did that is because I didn't want to get in trouble. I didn't want to not be okay. I didn't really care what happened to her or how she felt. And that's, I don't think that's normal human nature. But as an alcoholic, when I'm active, I get disconnected from feelings and emotions, I think. And what else? And also towards the end of school, I also started like leaving at break. I repeated standard 9. I was never really in class, and when I was in class, but I wasn't present because I was high, or if I was 90% high, but if I wasn't, I just wasn't interested, and I'd be looking out the window and thinking about where I'm going after school, or like just didn't really care about anything serious. I just wanted, life was going to be one big party, and it was going to be amazing, and I was going to have all this money and beautiful wife, and I wasn't going to put any effort in, but I was going to get what I wanted, and that's how it was. And this is mad, but I thought that's what would happen, and that's what I wanted to happen. And I also got involved, like selling pornography at school to younger kids to make side money to buy the drugs that I was using. There was a shop we used to get, back then it was videotapes, and we had a few video machines. We used to stack them up and play one, record a whole lot, and then go to the younger kids and say how much, rip them off and sell it. And again, that my friend that we were doing that, he got in big shit for that, and I managed to not get caught. I was selling like magazines and videos and this and that, and thinking this is okay, like we're businessmen, And also, then him and we started leaving school and going to the local casino that opened when I was 16. And I remember also getting shit there. The casino security had caught me for a vandalism thing and taken me downstairs, and had to call my family to fetch me, and it was a whole thing. And could never really see like what I'm doing is not okay. And I just carried on. When I left school and I went to varsity and I started studying psychology, I realized, I don't know if it was matric or the second time I stand 9, there was a point I remember sitting thinking, I'm a drug addict, like I can't stop. But I actually thought, but it's cool, I enjoy it, and this is how life's going to be, and I'm just going to live life and enjoy, and it doesn't matter, I couldn't see the madness of a repeated year of school. I'm always in trouble. Family's worried about me, and then it just escalated. And also I'd started stealing and lying and stuff like that, and like petty little whatever things. But they're not. But at the time they seemed like they were, because today that kind of stuff's not on. And and then I went to varsity, studied psychology, and again wasn't interested. Always using, never pitched up, and even for my one subject, you had to study a whole lot of books. And I remember they gave us a book. I was all keen in the first week or two. I got a book, and I was like, we read this for a term. Not such a big book. A week later, they're like, cool, here's the next book. I was like, these guys are joking. And it was just too much effort, so it didn't bother. And again, there was more fun things to do. Having a car and freedom like that, and I could do what I wanted. And I was asked to leave there due to poor attendance and low marks. My main thing of my degree that I was actually studying, I don't know how, but I passed that. I got 55% for the subject of because I thought, I'm here to study that. I don't need the other ones. That's what I'm studying. I don't know why they think I'm going to study 4 subjects with 2 majors and 2, whatever you call the other ones. I'm here for this, and the rest don't matter. It's mad. It's not how it works. But I wanted it to work how I wanted it to work, and it doesn't work like that. And and then I had another idea. Oh, sorry, backtrack. It's always all over the place. But my soccer had become quite a big thing in school, and that was like my last sport to go. And I remember by the time I was 17, I'd made provincial soccer like a year above my age group. I was playing at a level, and I was doing really well. That was when I was 13, and I had a lot of coaches saying, you got to keep working and don't be. They were saying I'm lazy. They didn't know I was also using, but they're like, you're lazy. You come to training and you don't want to get fit, but you want to go out and you play well, but if you're not fit, you're not going to make it. And when they were saying, you've got potential here to do something, And I kept getting bumped up through age groups above. And I remember when I was under 17, it goes under 15, 17, 19, senior. And when I was under 17, they bumped me under 19, then to the seniors, and you have to go through the teams. I was in reserves, 4th, 3rd, 2nds, and by then you have 2 dedicated fitness sessions plus your your ball work, soccer, actual training sessions in the week. And I remember getting cramps because sometimes I'd run at the back smoking a joint. Sometimes I'd come from a club the night before, and I'd actually still be completely wired, and I couldn't see that that's not normal. And I'm with these other people, and some of them would have a few beers after a match on a Sunday, and that would be it, But I just thought using and drinking was part of life, because whenever I could get away and be with my people, that's all we did. And I'd kind of normalized the abnormal. And by the time I got there with the soccer, and I reckoned, hey, I'm getting cramps, and I don't like this. And it's not because it's too difficult or whatever. It's because I'm too lazy to put the work in. I'd rather stuff around, have fun, what I thought was fun, and again, throw away another opportunity that I might have been able to have a really nice thing with. Because it was always my dream to go play soccer, and I threw that away before I was 20. Not to say I would have been playing for Manchester United, but maybe I could have played 2nd, 3rd division somewhere and made a living out of doing something I love. Also got into DJing after I left school. I actually got paid to do a little bit of stuff and stuffed that up royally as well. And that was also something I loved. I've always loved music, and I can't play instruments, but I learned how to do that, and I actually used to work on different programs on the computer, stay up late at night, and learn how to work the things and self-teach myself. And I found when I apply myself, my mind can actually be quite sharp, and I don't buy into my thinking of, I'm stupid, I'm not smart enough. Because when I buy into that, then I believe it, and I act on that, and I just don't care, and I think, well, I'll stuff it, and I just do whatever. Then I went to advertising college, which was full of drugs, and drugging was okay there, and I thought, hey, this is cool. But even there, I remember a lot of friends there saying, dude, you got to, tone it down a bit. And I look back now, and a lot of those people, they also had to tone it down, but I've got to look at my stuff, and I didn't turn it down, and it continued to get worse. And that was in 2000. I was 20 when I went there, so 12, 13 years ago, and already it was a shocking mess by then. Big problems, and it also, backtrack again. I'd been depressed and stuff as well from near the end of school, and been to psychiatrists and given tranquilizers and antidepressants, and obviously it didn't change anything. And I'd been to behavioral psychologists and hypnotherapy and stuff since I was about 13, 14 for being a naughty child. Take away the drugs, I might have behaved a lot better, and but also I guess I'm alcoholic and I didn't have a program, but I wouldn't have known what to do with it at that age, and I wouldn't have appreciated it or felt I needed it. it got really messy in that time there, and I had quite a bad psychosis at the end of the 1 year, and I had to go to the lecturers and say, well, yeah, well, my family did, and then when I came out of psychosis in the hospital and I came back, I said, yeah, it's the drugs, and they were like, oh, really? We didn't know. But I mean, everyone there was using, and they were quite understanding. They said, well, tell you what, you're here, and you're doing well in your first year, and we liked what you're doing, and you stuffed your second year up royally, but you can redo. You can do your theory exams now in the next few months, and just do your practical for the year, and not do your theory, and we'll give you that opportunity. I said, thank you. It means the world to me. I'm really excited, and I appreciate, and I was, but I couldn't stop using, and actually did my theory exams. I carried on using flat out, and I managed to pass those quite well, because I actually just wrote them. I don't think I studied. I studied for one of them. There were like 5 subjects. I studied for one of them. But I passed, and I did okay, and my practical, I handed in one thing out of like a lot of stuff I was supposed to hand in, and it was just, sorry, can't do this no more. And I also remember arriving there with 5 prostitutes in class one day, chicks that barely speak English, and introducing, this is my girlfriend, these are her friends, and people say, these are prostitutes. I said, don't be so judgmental, what do you know? And I'm mad. Because also around that time of my life, through people I'd met in events, and I was at a club, and I'd started to know some like DJs and stuff, and thinking, hey, I'm cool, I'm the man, and I know these people, and like riding off other people's waves of success and trying to get credit for stuff other people done. Sitting in the up in a DJ box in quite a dark, stiff nightclub, which I thought was the most amazing place, and because I don't know, it kind of, I thought it worked for me, but it didn't. Actually, it did, because maybe it accelerated stuff to this point, but it caused a lot of mess hanging in those places. But I was just there to have fun and be free and live life, and I wasn't living. I just take, and hurt myself and others. And so anyway, I met a lady that night, and she was out of it, and it was just really hot, and I thought, hey, I'll look after her. And then she's like, oh, the DJ, and we're chilling in the DJ box, and we're sharing drugs, and oh, wow, this is cool, and I'm going to get laid, what a cool night. And that was all the stuff that mattered. It was like being with chicks, and having money, and taking drugs, and living it up. And I wasn't like a yacht in Monaco. I was just like a sketchy little addict in Johannesburg, where I come from. But I had this delusion about how amazing life was. Anyway, they did turn out to be prostitutes. I started dating her for a few months, and I worked out the next day when I went to meet them for lunch at the place next door. I kind of had my suspicion, but and all my friends, all my friends were like, dude, what is wrong with you? Can you not see it? I'm like, get lost, man. Like, be open-minded. Like, what's wrong with you? And that's how warped my thinking was at such a young age. Like, that's not normal. That's asking for problems, and it brought a lot of problems. Because then, as I was there, and I started getting quite involved in that stuff, and again, thinking, hey, I'm cool. I'm a big shot now, because the people running the place were giving me little errands. Like, hey, do this, run there, fetch that, whatever. And it unfolded over a while. And next thing, I'm moving these people there, and in my head, I'm like, hey, I'm human trafficking syndicates, and it's just like, I thought I'm this fast-moving gangster, and it's just a sketchy, dodgy little, get scared and insecure, and going anywhere I can fit in, and it was a dark time, that, and then there was another lady there, and there's some good people there, but like us, they're stuck in what we were stuck in, and that's, I guess, their ways and means to do what they got to do. But I met another lady there. She's dead today. Serious? Oh, okay, cool. Anyway, then me and her started dating, and it was a whole mess, and I was with her for 10 months, and again, I changed substance again to be with her. How I met her, when I used to go score, most of the ladies used a certain substance. She used one other, and I went with her to score, and I took her with me, and she would get her stuff, I get my stuff, and I don't know, we just sort of had like a little connection amidst the drug madness. I don't know what it was, but it's not really a connection, it's just some madness. Started dating her. She was like freelance working or whatever you'd call it from some other place in another area with another person. Next thing I'm with them for 10 months and it progressed again and I actually got more involved in that stuff and did a lot of stuff really like uncomfortable stuff and that's for me that's where the addiction, like the real pain of addiction, I could actually see like this, I don't like this, and it was hectic stuff and that stuff for a long time I had a lot of guilt and shame that I used on to like get that stuff away. And I started also going like in and out of psychosis and psych wards and rehabs because it was out in the open. Like this is a drug addict, he needs help, but something, why doesn't he ever do anything about it? I also joined the fellowship that year. I think it was 2004, and yeah, I'd go once a week. I'd pitch up, and then my dad he was suspicious of what's going on here, and he'd drive past and he caught me in the car smoking crack, doing drugs, and because when I wasn't seen there, they said, but you said you were at your meeting, so then I'd go there and I'd just hide in the back and use, and they started seeing me doing that stuff, and and I started going in rehabs, and until I was 25, and it just, it's this behavior, that behavior, and the stealing escalated, I got a lot involved in messy gambling things, I had problems there. And when I was 25, there was just such a snowball of a mess for a week that, it was like, do this or don't do this, and that's it. And, I thought I was clean, because in those years of in and out the fellowship, I had a period of 8.5 months where I never came off my medication, so I started getting put on antipsychotics also from, I think I was about 20, my first 20 or 21 when I had my first big psychosis, and eventually they were like, this one's not keeping you, like they weren't working anymore because of all the other stuff, I guess, and they changed me onto this one, onto that one, and then they found a really strong one that just kept cranking the dose up, and like a walking zombie. But I had an 8.5 month stint where 6 and a bit months I was in treatment, and I was just on the meds, but I wasn't clean, and spitting. I was like goofed out from reality, and I thought I was clean, and I'd pick up every time my other stuff and think, why can't I stay clean? And like someone in this room showed me, it's so simple and obvious, but he showed me in the beginning of treatment, we were sitting having a chat, and he said, that obsession was never removed because you had other junk in your system and it was going. And then the minute it wasn't enough, you'd go get more of whatever, and so obvious and so simple, yet I didn't know that until I got clean and I felt what it's like to be clean, because I often just lied and pretended. Even in the fellowship, I'd pretend to be okay, because there I'm with a whole bunch of misfits and dodgy people, and some of them are being okay and some of them aren't okay, but I can just be whoever, say whatever, and it's cool and it's fine, and and it's not as bad as it is out there. Yet I'd go to my meetings and then I'd go out there and I'd run back and sit in my meeting and think I'll be okay, and build relationships there, destroy them, and like everywhere I went, and just leeching off people and stuff, and like, what can I get out of this person? So I'll try to speed it up, and then that period, then I thought, this is it, and I'm getting clean, and I had a few stretches of like 3 months, 2 months, 4 months where it was just medication and no other drugs, which is not recovery and not clean, and why it always took me back, I guess, which I couldn't see that. But there again, it was just after I celebrated my 90-day whatever kind of dishonest thing, but not knowing, and I guess people where I was didn't really care about the meds, especially people who knew me were like, dude, it's fine. I mean, I'd share 8 times the one meeting. I had 8 shares in one meeting. I was losing my mind. And I was talking about really inappropriate stuff. It was in 2005 in that dark space, and I was saying stuff that you share with your sponsor. And people are like, I puked demons up on the way to a meeting. I got out the car and I was calling around puking, and I saw them come out. And this is the madness. And I'm telling my sponsor at the time, who gave me a lift because I was deemed incompetent to drive a vehicle by health professionals. I guess I was, but and yeah, so those few months, and then this girl I really liked, she's got it together now through this program, and she's getting married, she's got her kids back, and her life has turned around. But we ended up using on the quiet and being so medicated, and I'd gone back to one of my other drugs, and it was about 7 and a bit years ago, and it was like intermittent because I still had enough relief from my medication to keep the pain or whatever I was running from away. It was intermittent for a few months, and then before I was even supposedly a year clean, it became a daily thing again, and that just rolled on until I came down here just over a year ago. And yeah, and everyone thought, hey, this guy's clean, he's amazing. And I was like, service keeps you clean. And I was doing service, I was involved, and I was also stealing a lot of money out of there, and I owe a lot of money to the fellowship. And I was knowing what's going on. Nobody else knew, and it was chowing me. And the more it chowed me, the more I'd like get rid of it, because I just didn't want to be honest and talk about it. I had this mad idea: if I'll be okay, I'll get like 3-4 months. I said, look, I stuffed up. All behind me, don't shout at me, it's not a problem, all working out, and I'll fix the damage. And the more I thought that, the more it unraveled and the worse it got, and by the time it did come out, I hit a lot more people. I got married to a lady in recovery, and and we actually came down here on honeymoon. I couldn't get the drug I was using. We came for a day here because she has family in Scotland, and how ironic is that, that we come here to the place where I got clean. I remember driving up to Mzinto, sneaking out late at night at the car, because what I brought to last, and I was withdrawing. I went up and walking around the township. I spoke to O's and give us some money, and we'll go. No, I'll go there. You don't joke me. I'll go there. And I'll go there, find this O. And I'm sitting out there, and why's all the police driving? And then I realized there's a police station right there. I'm just so cut off from what's going on, but I want to do my thing to be okay. And when I'm doing that, I'm not okay, and I could never see that. And and we went up to Mshlanga, and then driving long trips back and forth secretly in the night. She's thinking, why are you getting so sick, and what's wrong? And I'm like, stories. And people over the years, like, they knew me as, like, because I love coffee, and I drink coffee ridiculously, and I'd often throw up because of what I was using. And I'd had it down to kind of like, I don't know, I just was so used to throwing up, just like it's nothing. And but people would now and then say, hey, did you just throw up there in the corner in the bush? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, no, it's the coffee. 25 coffees a day, you're going to throw up. It's that caffeine. And people believe that shit, because I was so dishonest and so good at being dishonest. And that's why now it terrifies me, because I know what I'm like, and I know what I get up to. So, and I don't want to be that person anymore, and I don't have to, because I can do this, and the opportunities I've had to make this possible it's been amazing. And now I'm running out of time. I wanted to talk about this also a lot, but shit. It's just like when I look back, and I know there's someone here also in this room who always taught us that no mistakes in God's world. Also, I remember in the year 99 at this big hotel up here, not this one, the other one. I remember also some stuff there when like it kind of progressed. And again, I was 16 and I started using chemicals that I was like, I don't use that thing. And it's like, hey, but this has opened my mind. And now I see clearly what life's about. And the more I thought I knew, the less I actually knew. And it's taken me a long time to admit and know, and there's a lot I need to learn in life. Because I remember coming to treatment, I know everything. What are you guys going to teach me? Like, I'm here, I've got to get off the drugs, I'll write my steps, and I'll be cool, and off I go, and life's grand. And I detoxed for quite a while off my meds, because it was my 4th center in a row, because when I finally had the courage, I don't know where it came from, look, I have actually been using all these years. Well, at first it was just a couple months, and in between, I mean, there was a massive court case. I mean, I even worked in treatment centers. It's mad. I had a huge court case. I was looking at a ridiculous sentence. From that court case, I've got lifelong bans from certain chain pawn shops, and casino bans, and nationwide, and it's like mad things. Stuff, places I don't need to go, but it's like I put myself through stuff I don't need to, because I'm trying to do what I want to do. It's just so upside down to how I guess people out there live. The nice thing is I'm here, and how this is going. doesn't have to be like that. And I've seen it work for other people, so I know this stuff works, and I'm feeling it work for myself. And I make a lot of mistakes. I get angry, I get irritable, I get impatient, I get moody. But even moody, like to feel, is like I've been so like emotional flatlined. I've always lived in here, and I try to quiet it down with whatever I'm doing and escape from my thoughts. Because my thoughts they're all over the place, and I've only realized that in recovery. And sitting up late at night, I have to like slow myself down and do my step 11, and that's where I connect with my higher power. And for me, that's come through music. And I've often felt weird to speak about that, but that's where it came from, and that's how I connect primarily. I get it through experiences, through people, it's everywhere. I see God and things of God happening, stuff that I like. Hearing myself say it is weird, because I hear people talk about this stuff and I'm thinking, you're full of shit, you're lying, because I never experienced it. And the stuff I've experienced in this year has actually blown my mind. Like, this is really cool stuff. This program, the people I've met, even people before, people now. The thing is, where I am now and the people I know now, it's like, yeah, we're doing this, and things are okay. And I've got a simple job, and I live in a small town, and actually it's a lot nicer. Like, there's nothing I have to like kind of maneuver or operate to. And now and then I think, hey, it'd be nice if this panned out like that, but at the end of the day, things are okay, and when they're not, deep down, I know, like, whatever happens, things will work out, because they have, this whole short period that I've been sober, like, things have, and when I really think they're not, something will happen, I won't like it, I'll look back a week or two later and I'll go, that's why it happened, it's really cool stuff. And I think that, like, people often say active is baffling. Recovery is baffling half the time, and I think I confuse myself, and I get confused because there's so much going on in my head. But that's why I also need to slow it down, calm it down, and when I do that, I can actually make rational, logical choices and not be impulsive, and take my time and that's when I enjoy life. And that's stuff from this program, listening to my sponsor and other people. Because I don't listen to anyone, I never have, and I still don't like listening. You can tell me what I need to hear and whether I like it or not, and I'll know inside straight away if I need to listen or not, but I often don't like to show that. Don't tell me what to do. But if I know, I'll quietly go about it, I must do that. But I'm working on that stuff, so I think that's enough time, thanks. Yeah.